If you remember Jar Jar riding hippos, Anakin stealing Ventress's lightsaber, and battling the Zillo Beast, then you grew up playing LEGO Star Wars. But which one? Because there were 6 games released across 19 different consoles, and in this series we're going to compare each of them. And this time around we're going to compare every version of LEGO Star Wars 3, The Clone Wars. Now, The Clone Wars came out at an interesting time for Lucasfilm, because in the years between the end of the prequels and the sale of Lucasfilm to Disney, this animated show was the flagship Star Wars property. So naturally, LEGO decided to make a bunch of sets based on the show. Now, the sets themselves were fine, but in an attempt to incorporate the show's art style, LEGO ended up making the minifigs faces look like the annoying orange. Around this time, TT Games decided to make a third LEGO game based on the Clone Wars. Now, as you can see, the original press poster still had the minifigs with the awkward faces, but luckily by the time the final game was released, the designs were toned down greatly to fit in with the general LEGO aesthetic. Alright, so let's start with the flagship version released for every console and PC out at the time. Now, the game actually starts at the Battle of Geonosis at the end of Attack of the Clones, and I covered this section in my episode 2 video. After the prologue, the story branches into 3 narrative paths: Dooku, Grievous, and Ventress. I always found this to be a really novel way to approach the story. Of course, the game is able to do this because it's adapting the first 2 seasons of a show which took a much more episodic approach to the stories compared to the later seasons. Alright, let's start with the blue Dooku thread, which picks up at the Battle of Geonosis. I really do love Ki-Adi-Mundi's old design. Look, it's just 2 LEGO heads together. Now that's big brain energy right there. And yes, you can cut down your own battalion of clones. I mean, he might as well do it now before they get him eventually. Battle droids, they're no match for the skill of a Jedi. This level introduces one of the key new gameplay features of this game, the battle stages. These are a mix of simple real-time strategy mechanics with the command post style gameplay from the Battlefront games. The objective is to destroy and take over all of the enemy's command posts using a mixture of clone battalions, cannons, vehicles, and a bunch of other tools. And I've got to say, I found this feature to be quite fun. After all, what can be more satisfying than stomping on a squad of battle droids in your walker? Or moonwalking in this thing. Although, I must say, I don't remember there being a giant gold dong-shaped cannon at the end of Attack of the Clones. The next stage is another RTS level, but this time with Jar Jar riding around on these big hippos. As you play through the opening levels, you see that this game also placed a lot of emphasis on the hybrid stage approach. You're going to have a lot of levels that mix space combat with on-foot missions. Obi-Wan, you might want to keep your eyes on the battlefield. The characters themselves have also received a bunch of upgrades. The Jedi, for example, can now throw their lightsabers and cut through select walls. You have clone commanders which can organize squadrons to shoot at big targets like these rocks. But despite all these new features, this game feels very much like a classic LEGO game with plenty of puzzles and cooperative elements. The blue story thread ends with the adaptation of the Geonosis zombie episodes where you have to take on this giant bug queen. She always creeped me out. The way she just shoots balls from her thing. And you know what? She always reminded me of the Slurm Queen from Futurama. Alright, next up we have the Grievous story thread. We have a couple of levels dedicated to the Malevolence, that proto-Death Star thing. You play as Ahsoka, as Plo Koon, and as Obi-Wan and Anakin. Oh, I see, this is gonna be easy.
No, Anakin, no!
This game is also notable for introducing the scene swap feature, which would continue to be included in future games going forward. Alright, we then get the Lair of Grievous mission, featuring Kit Fisto, his fish-faced apprentice, and, Commander Phil? Oh no, it's Grievous! Get him, Phil! Alright, quickly, let's just throw this crate at him. Oh, he looks so sad. We also get this clone-centric mission from the Rookies episode featuring Commander Cody and Rex, or as I like to call them, the clone that didn't try to kill his friends during Order 66, and the clone that did. Plus, we also have the actual rookie clones. There's Heavy with his Gatling gun, Echo with the bazooka, and Fives with the, pistol. I kind of feel like he got the short straw here. This is a great little level which has you cycling through all the different clones as they battle the droid army. funny. And finally, we have the Ventress thread, which starts with Anakin and Obi-Wan on Christophsis. And this level really shows the improved engine, which allows for an entire sea of battle droids on screen at one time. So you get this boss battle against Ventress where Anakin keeps stealing her lightsaber. Nope, you're never gonna get this. Oh, damn it. Well, come on Obi-Wan, don't just stand there, do something. So, if I remember right, in the show, their battle ends on top of this blue crawler thing. The Jedi quickly cut it down and then jump off as it falls. Now, the game reinterprets this scene, turning it into a boss battle from the Sonic Adventure games, which is then followed by this endless falling sequence. We then get a level based on the ambush episode with Yoda and the clones, and this is probably my favorite Yoda from any of the LEGO games. He's just so fun and easy to control, and there's no cane or flying pod, and like every old man, he wears his trousers really high up. We also get this long level on Naboo, which has you switching between the principal characters, and finally a set of 3 Ryloth levels. The first is another hybrid space ground level, followed by a traditional level where Obi-Wan and the clones land on Ryloth, and it also includes this bit where Obi-Wan rampages through the market, destroying everything in his way. Ho ho, how uncivilized. And the final Ryloth level is another RTS stage. Once you've completed all 3 of the plot lines, you will get the game's final mission, the Zillo Beast. That's right, remember the time George Lucas decided to throw Godzilla into Star Wars? Also, what the hell is that? Anyway, this starts as a typical RTS level. You take over all the command posts and the Zillo Beast shows up and starts throwing Lego sets at you until you shoot him down. And that's it for the main campaign. Now, this being a LEGO game, there is a bunch of extra content like Republic and Separatist assault missions, 2-player arcade mode, in addition to all the typical LEGO mini-kit collecting. There is also a good variety of characters, from Clone Wars to the movies to other games like The Force Unleashed. And look, they even have Tom Selleck. Before we continue, just a quick note to say that I have started a Patreon. It's only £1 a month, so if you've enjoyed my content, please consider subscribing, as it would go a long way in helping me release videos consistently. Thank you for considering. Alright, that's it for the flagship version. Moving on, we have the handheld version released for the PSP and 3DS. Like previous handheld LEGO Star Wars games, this version is slightly condensed. It has about 2/3 of the levels from the flagship, and does away with the branching story paths in favor of a simple, linear level select screen. The levels that remain are still based on the same episodes from the show and use the same opening cinematics, but the level design is often very different. For example, Ventress and her big blue crawler are still a boss battle in this version, but this time around you take it on as part of a flying mission in a Republic dropship. The handheld version is also missing the RTS elements, instead relying on the classic style of gameplay for the levels that did use it. So the Jar Jar level looks like this. Whoops, there is space combat, but this time around it's a lot more of a straightforward dogfight. And there's no Zillo Beast this time around. Instead, the final level is you taking on the Slurm Queen on Geonosis. This version is also missing some of the characters, and the remaining characters do have some occasional differences from the flagship version. For example, this Yoda does use a cane, and this Commander Cody has a Gatling gun. However, something unique to this version are the minigames. Although I must say, some of them are quite random. Mace Windu baseball, anyone? What am I supposed to do here exactly? Or how about a good old-fashioned snowball fight? Too cold? No problem, here's some astromech volleyball. And as random as they are, I do appreciate that the developers did take the time to add them. Now, there is also a regular DS version, however it's very similar to what you get on the PSP and 3DS, with the main differences being the graphical downgrades. And so, there you have it, every version of LEGO Star Wars 3. To me, this game always sat between the classic and modern LEGO games. The graphics are a huge upgrade compared to the first 2 games, and it also introduces a bunch of new features like split-screen gameplay, scene swap, and actual 3D space battles. But it still has one foot firmly in classic LEGO Star Wars territory. The characters still don't talk, and many of the levels are still very much focused on the co-op puzzle-solving mechanic. Plus, the game does a good job of reinterpreting the Clone Wars episodes with that old-school LEGO charm. I think a lot of people have missed this game because it wasn't tied into the movies, so I would definitely recommend you check it out. And if you already have, then please let me know your thoughts in the comments. In particular, where do you rank this game compared to both the classic and new LEGO games? As always, thanks for watching, please consider supporting me on Patreon, and a big thanks to all of my existing patrons. Also, if you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.